I just closed one. I just recorded a deed not too long, last week. Well, no, Friday. I officially recorded it. I mean, reverse flip is it's a whole different game. I mean, it gives you a whole set of tools that you can work with. I look at deals in a whole. I look at deals as a cash transaction, as a, it's just a bunch of stuff that starts seeing. Like that meme that they put like the whole algebra. Yeah. My name is Rodolfo Gomez. I'm from Cali, Colombia. I'm 42 and I'm a real estate investor. Well, I met Will almost about a year and a half ago, 2 years before reverse flip existed. And yeah, no, we attempted to work in some deals. He taught me a lot about reverse flip even before it existed. He taught me, a lot of the intricacies and details. And well, when reverse flip happened, it came to life. I'm like, I'm down, let's go. I signed up. And yeah, no, I've been, a follower of Will and learning a lot from the guy. I started wholesaling 3 years ago. Started wholesaling before that. I used to live in Colombia, and I had a business or have a business with my dad. It's a mechanical engineer business in the mining sector, and then I also own a CrossFit gym over there. So nothing related to real estate, but always been interested in real estate. And after 2020, I was like, okay, well, my business has took some hits. Like, let's jump into the real estate and see what happens. I didn't even know what wholesale was. I thought about real estate and I thought it was like, oh, real estate agent, buying houses, selling houses, read the Purple Bible, Robert Kiyosaki, but didn't actually know what wholesale was. And then I had a person that I knew from high school, a friend, and he was like, "Hey, bro, I got this huge, great idea. Let's build this wholesale real business. Let's make an empire." And I'm like, "All right, well, tell me about it." And he was like, "Yeah, no, I know this guy that he wholesales, and I'm a real estate agent, broker. We can get this going. You can help and this." And I'm like, "All right, I'm down." And we started. I was kind of like I was the person with the least knowledge, so I was kind of like, "Okay, you're gonna be the cold caller." I'm like, all right, great. I guess I have to pay my dues. And and no, man, we started cold calling. I hated it because I've my initial I could be I'm the type of person that I go to a restaurant and if I get bad service, I don't complain. I will go back. I with confrontation, more of a peas and like go with the flow type of guy. And when you're cold calling, you're getting smashed. You're getting cussed out every day. It's pretty rough. So it was a rough start. But I'm a quick learner, and I started cold calling, cold calling. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't pretty, but just kept on going. And then the guy that brought me into the business, when after the first 2 to 3 months that there wasn't a deal, he dropped. And I was like, all right, well, I guess this is how it's gonna go. And I was like, all right, I'm already here. So I looked at the other guy. He was like, well, let's keep on moving. So I stuck with him, and then we couldn't get a deal. We were wholesaling in here in Miami, and then in Boston and Massachusetts in Springfield. So by the 6 month, he was putting all the money for the systems and stuff. He was like, "Hey, bro, I can't do this anymore." I'm like, "I understand. You do your thing. I think I'm slowing you down. I'll do my thing." And then I just started doing my own thing. I got the systems. I started, just straight shooting it and seeing what happens. Got involved with TTP. I signed up to the mentorship with Brand Daniels, and that kind of pushed me. Started learning more and more and more. Then I met a couple of wholesalers that are in TTP that live here in Miami. One of them is Marcelo, so shout out to Marcelo. He was by far, I guess, the first person that really extended a friendly hand and helped me a ton, a ton. Will be forever grateful to him. But before that, I cold called for 13 months and no deal. Yeah, it was pretty rough, man. But like I said, I don't know. It was something. Something that is engraved in my mind and in my personality that I don't give up easily. And it wasn't easy. There was points where I thought I was gonna quit. but I had a kid, I have my wife, and I don't want any of them to think that their dad or their husband is a quitter. So I just stuck with it, and until the first deal hit, and I just kept on learning and learning and learning more. Then I heard about this guy called Willie Numbers, and decided to give him a follow. And as soon as I give him a follow, I see that he's doing a live, Instagram live. He used to do a lot of Instagram lives back then, and just loud, very out there, very no BS type of guy, and the whole opposite of not that I'm a BS type of guy, but I'm more, kind of like more analytical. I'm more, when you first meet me, I'm more quiet and more analytical, and I was like, I like this guy. This guy he calls it like it is, and I like that. I'm used to that because I've always played sports. In Colombia, I was being bred to be a professional footballer, soccer player, and coaches, they're savages. So I like that. I like that. I was very close to go to the Marines. Had no issue with boot camp. I actually was looking forward to boot camp. So the way that he is, I like it. Yeah, I was attracted to that because I'd rather a guy like that to be real and to actually be a doer than someone that sugarcoats and is just Instagram. You know what I mean? Appearances. So just started following him. I remember once I texted him through Instagram, like, hey bro, how can in the heck get first of all in touch with you? How can I bring value to you, and how can I learn from you? And he was like, here, this is my phone number, this is my email, text me, call me, whenever you have a chance. Because before that, I heard that he doesn't like his brain being picked. So I immediately said, how can I bring value to you? I didn't want to be put in the blacklist. And and no, man, there was some deals that I saw a lot of potential, and I seen through his Instagram stories that he had a deal very similar to that one. So I brought it to him, and that's how we started interacting, just asking questions. He would offer a lot of value. There was at one point that he sat with me on a Zoom for an hour, just explaining things to me. I'm like, man, this guy, I'm sure he's a very busy guy. He's here teaching me all of this stuff and not asking anything in return. So I'm like, this is a guy that I gotta follow. And you can tell that he's a very successful guy. So just started, bringing him, always led with value, bringing him deals, bringing him opportunities. And he was like, look, I like what you're bringing me, but you got to look at this and that. Started teaching me how to navigate the docket, how to look at dockets differently, legal, how to run the play. And that was it for me. Like that's when I started feeling exponentially my growth starting to grow. Very far from where I want to be, but I've come a long way. Pretty proud of where I am right now, and man, just learning from him, learning from people like Oscar, learning from other, a lot of people that are very knowledgeable. So just going with the flow. I just closed one. I just recorded a deed not too long, last week. Well, no, Friday. Officially recorded it. So this is a property here in Deerfield Beach. I actually came across that property because I was trying to wholesale the house next to it. Every investor liked the house. They liked the price, but everyone gave me the same feedback. They were very worried about the exit strategy when it came to put the house in the market because the property next to it was this rundown house. So I'm like, so I ended up canceling that contract. And I was like, well, might as well just try to get this house to see if I can come back and wholesale this guy and, this house, and then wholesale those, houses next to each other. So I started like looking for the owner, couldn't get a hold of him, started like deep searching until I found him. And then I asked him like, look, I see your property, pretty run down. Are you looking to sell it? He was like, well, if you come to me with a reasonable offer and a game plan, I'll consider it. So I'm like, okay, game. So I went to the city of Deerfield Beach, found, I requested of the liens and violations, and it had over $600,000 in liens and violations. It owed 2 years of taxes. So I'm like, boom, that's another whammy. And it happened that this guy, he used to have an investment company, and he gave a loan to someone, and they left that house as collateral. They didn't perform, so he foreclosed on that property. He kept it. Um, then hurricane passed by, damaged the house. His wife fell ill. He kind of let go of the business, and that's where the property ended up. I tried to get back to him, and the guy wouldn't answer the phone call. Then the phone number that I first contacted him was no longer working. So I'm like, all right. So went back again, started deep searching, and came across his daughter. And I kept on calling her, and she was like, look, here's his email. Send him an email. That's all I can do. So I kept on sending the guy emails, wouldn't answer. And then I was like, I annoyed her so much that she was like, look, I'm going to give you his phone number. Just don't tell him that I gave him to you. So I called the guy. I'm like, hey, finally found you. I've been trying to get a hold. And this happened over the course of a year. So I'm like, finally got a hold of you. I've been trying to get a hold of you. Seems like, his problems just kept on increasing. And told him, like, look, I went, found out about the property. This property has substantial liens and violations. It owes 3 years of taxes. So it could be set for auction very soon. I can do $1,000. At that point, I already have knowledge from Will. I went to the wholesaling workshop that he first did in September. Then I got signed up into a reverse flip. And, before that, he had already explained how buying the deeds and everything works. And I knew that you have to buy these in pennies on the dollar, right? So I told him, like, look, I can do this 1,000. He was like, no, I can't do that. I will consider 10,000. So when he said 10,000, I was like, okay, well, this guy's not asking for a bunch of money. This guy's asking for 10,000, but 10,000 buying the deal with so many problems, it's still worth it, but it's just a lot of work. With the help of a sales coach that I have, kind of like sketch a game plan as to how to approach the seller. And I just approached it as to, look, like, I understand you want 10,000, but the property has a lot of issues. You're probably going to lose the property in the next couple of months because it's going to get set to auction. Not only that, but meanwhile, you're running the risk of somebody going into that property, committing a crime, and you are the owner of the property. So do you really want to be holding that liability in your hands? Why not let me take over and I'll fix the problem and you will walk away? And that kind of like made sense to him. And he was like, all right, well, then let's do it for 1,000. So yeah. So then he got his attorney involved because he wanted a non-harmless, whole harmless, to be signed. And I got my attorney involved, and they settled $1,000, recorded the deed, and on Monday I took a structural engineer because it actually has two trees growing in the middle of the house. That's how long it's been abandoned for over 10 years. Wow. Yeah. So it has two trees, and I'm not talking about little trees. They're like big, massive trees like this. So I was like, man, I don't know if this house is going to be salvageable. Like, I don't know. So I took an structural engineer that was referred to me. And the guy was like, of course this is salvageable. This house is great. It has great bones. It was like, bro, like, you don't have to tear down this house. You can pick it back up. So talking to Will, he actually told me that, like, I know you're doing this for your future. You have to start thinking about not just wholesaling and selling this, because in a few years you're gonna kick yourself in the butt if you wholesale this property that you got at $1,000. So keep it and fix it, rent it, refinance it, cash out, and just use that cash to make your business grow. So that's the game plan, man. For $1,000 in here in South Florida, man. If there is one thing to somebody that might be looking at this, I was you at some point, right? Man, just don't give up. Your actions, they don't have to be perfect. I'm not the best sales guy. I'm far away from being the sales guy. So that's why I'm in a coaching program. I might not be the most knowledgeable, but one thing I can tell you is that I'm a bulldog. Like I'm hard headed. I'll run through the wall if you tell me that there is the result that I want is on the other side of that wall. I'm a bulldog. I'll run through that wall, and if you put in the back of me my two sons, and my wife, I'm not stopping. So it's just pure grit, man. You have to show grit, and God has a perfect timing. When all of these things started, I had just read Unshakable by Tony Robbins. And that book just prepped me up for what was coming, for the storm. So yeah, man. I can understand if people are being skeptical, but that just means that you don't understand the business. It pays to have knowledge, you know. You gotta invest in yourself. You gotta invest in yourself to be around people like Will, like Juan, like Natalie. These are top performers. And that's something that I've always said ever since I started this journey. It's no longer about me. I'm not 22. I'm not 23. I'm 42. Right? Doesn't mean that I'm old. I feel the youngest. I feel alive. I feel in the best shape of my life. But I got two boys, 5 and 2 years old. Right? Um, and I want them to see what it really takes to be successful. Right? And I want to leave a legacy as far as assets, but more as a mindset. And what I've learned is that when you don't understand something, you're skeptical. It's just like when a seller doesn't understand what you're trying to offer, they become skeptical. That means that you didn't do a good job explaining what you're trying to achieve. So, I mean, reverse flip it's a whole different game. I mean, it gives you a whole set of tools that you can work with. I look at deals as a cash transaction, as a it's just a bunch of stuff that starts seeing, like that meme that, they put like the whole algebra. Yeah. It gives you a whole spectrum. It gives you a whole spectrum because now you're just not stuck on the ARV times 70% minus repairs, no, now you're looking as to, okay, like this property has this issue. What can I do with that? What zoning is this? Like just what Will was just explaining with that deal that he's going to make 7 figures. Like, if you don't have that knowledge, if you have that knowledge, you have a hell of an edge versus everyone else. And personally, I just don't want to be a wholesaler, and I just don't want to be an investor. I want to be the investor. I want to be, whether it is recognized or whether it's just me personally, internally, that I feel successful and that my kids, again, comes to my kids, seeing their dad becoming successful and leaving them a legacy that they can see, like, if my dad did it, I want to be that, and I just want to continue that path. So don't be skeptical. If you have questions, ask, and if you have to invest some money, then do it, because that's what's going to take. Anything that it's grand majority of the things that are free don't add too much value, right? I've learned that when Will told me about his reverse free the workshop. I remember with the workshop, I was walking my dog, and I looked onto Instagram and I saw this thing. I immediately clicked buy now. I think I was like the second person that I signed up. Like I bought it right away. And then when Reverse Flip came up, signed up right away. And when he told me about Reverse Flip Pro, signed up. It's just, and it's the knowledge, the level of knowledge, the insights just keeps on going up, more and more nuggets. It's not only that, but it's just the access that you have to his team, like Gio. Like now, Gio and I were friends, and like best attorney in Florida, hands down. Just Juan with the sales systems. Like now they're helping me with my systems and processes. So it's yeah, you have to pay, but if that's what you got is gonna take to be surrounded by the right people, then do it. It's gonna shorten your learning curve by a lot. It's gonna be worth every single penny. Um, and I'm not a guy that has a bunch of friends. I cannot count my friends. We have on my fingers in one hand. But this is the type of rooms where I'd rather be, right? These are the type of rooms that I have no time for BS. I'm actually very allergic to BS. I can smell BS from a mile away. So I just rather be alone than to be dealing with BS. The people that are out there, those are the people that, even though I don't know them like friends, those are people that I want to surround myself because they're go-getters. And that's something that I really want. If I have one mission in life, is to teach my kids that take advantage while you're young so you can relax when you're 30, 35. Oh, don't even get me started. I'll start crying here, bro. My kids, man, that's my why, man. Like anytime I talk about them, I get goosebumps, bro. Yeah, man. It is the number one reason why I've never quit. So yeah, bro, it's all about leaving a legacy to them, right? Um, that when I'm no longer here, that they can say that they learned from their dad, that their dad actually set them free, mindset. And it's not only been my growth, my wife, she started her own thing, and bro, like, just now it's a wife and a husband growing together. And believe it or not, the fact that we both growing together professionally has affected our marriage in such a positive way, bro, that it's incredible. Like, I've grown like so much closer to her. The admiration for each other has grown, and just we are both of us are like on the same mindset that we want them to learn that you know this is the way. Like, get out of the rat race. You know, don't be a lion, not a sheep. Like, hunt for your dreams, take risks, don't be afraid to fail. That's something that I'm very, even when they're playing, I avoid saying, hey, you're gonna get hurt or anything. Like, let them learn. Let them take risks, let them jump from that log. Let them, if they hurt themselves, okay, they'll find out that they have to be careful next time. And I think that my mom and my dad, obviously they don't have bad intentions, but that's just how they've been raised. Then they pass it along. My dad, he became really successful when he was already like 50. No, now I'm becoming successful when I'm 40. Now the intention is that they can be really successful when they're 20, right? And that they can chill and build that generational wealth, right? Yeah, man. I think I heard. I think who it was that said that. I think it was Ed Milet, and that really hit my heart. It says that the biggest type of child neglect is not chasing your dreams. A lot of people blame their child for not being able to follow their dreams, and that's pretty crappy. That's very crappy. Don't put it on them, right? You had 20 years, you had 30 years before you had them. Why are you gonna, right? They're the motivation for me to become successful, right? I would never, and again, I work a lot. I love what I do. Sometimes it's 10 o'clock at night and I'm still in my chair, but I'm always very adamant about spending 2 hours with them, playing with them, because that's my why, right? So that's the purpose, man. It goes beyond the money, it goes beyond the assets, it goes beyond anything else. It's about them. That they're my little, I'll call them my gold mines. That's my treasure, right? I think that if when they're 19 and they have a mindset of, look, I want to be free, I want to follow my dad's perspective, I want to take risks, I'll be the first one to tell them, take the risk. And if you fail, so what? Just keep on moving. And I think that's something that I really want to put that in their mind. Not a scarcity mindset, but first to first. Acres over cars. You know, acres over cars, man. I'd rather have I don't know what is it, 41,000 acres that someone else family had. I'd rather have that than a freaking G wagon, right?